Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's video 44 coming at you with another video. So, I was just watching Rob Parker and Chris Broussard's podcast just now, the radio show that they were doing. They were talking about Ben Simmons, and they brought up something very important. They were essentially saying that, NBA teams are not able to use the cap space that a Ben Simmons would represent while he's holding out in a situation such as the one they're in. That's it. That's exactly it. Ownership probably should consider something like that in regards to that is what you attack. You ask for some type of provision or some type of gifting of grace from the NBA to allow your team to use all or a portion of the cap space that's being used by the holdout player to get players to make trades so that you can keep competitive while this situation is going on. Now, how you work that out, I do not know. Maybe you only trade for players who are expiring contracts. That way you're not holding on to players that you shouldn't be holding on to for longer than the situation is necessary. I don't know exactly how to work that out scientifically, but that is what I think needs to happen. Because this situation with Ben Simmons is going to leave Joel Embiid in a weird spot if the Philadelphia 76ers choose to, which they may be inclined to, do this little tit for tat with Ben Simmons and drain him of all his money and hold him hostage, or however you equate that. I think Ben Simmons, he believes he's going to try to hold out, and I think to a point he will. Once the money starts getting ridiculous, he'll come on and show up or something like that. But he doesn't see that right now. I don't think he even sees that on the horizon. So this could drag out all season, honestly. And in my mind, I've already said that I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers should do that, even though they would be in their right to do so because it looks like Ben Simmons is in the wrong. I just don't think it's the right move because you do have Joel Embiid in the balance. You don't want to risk his representation looking at him and saying, okay, we think we can get you out of here. This is our leverage to make our skedaddle. Let's get the hell out of here ourselves. Because at the end of the day, man, and I've said this a couple times as well, Philadelphia is just not the greatest organization. It's cut and dry. They got a great fan base, rich organization in terms of their history. Great players have played there. Iverson, Dr. J, Moses Malone. So it's not like I'm talking about them as an organization. The fans are great. Everybody's great. My problem with the Philadelphia 76ers has always been they just don't develop players well in this era. In this particular 12-year period that they've been doing this whole thing with the process, they have let so much talent come into their situation, ignore that talent as it comes there in terms of developing it, and then let it ship out and become whatever it's going to become elsewhere. It's happened time and time and time again. And the players that they retain usually go through some type of weird situation where they struggle, whether it be physically, mentally, or both, and then they end up leaving there at significantly less value. That whole situation trading for Markelle Fultz and then bringing him in and having that go so south while trading yourself away from Jason Tatum, it just screamed of incompetence all up and down the board. And they've gotten very, very blessed because of what it is they've chosen to do, which is lose on purpose to get the type of picks like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and all these different guys that they've gotten over the years that ultimately have only gotten to a point in terms of how good they've been able to become in their uniform. The only person who's developed properly is Joel. And that's because they poured everything into making sure that they focused on him. They set him for many years, it seemed like. Played him sparingly in situations where they should have played him a lot early on, just so that they can put him in a point to be where he's at, and it was the right decision. But it's the only thing they've practically done correctly, if you really want to consider it. So for me, now I'm just like, all right, if you want to turn this ship around and really set yourself on a path to actually go after a championship instead of just sniffing one every year, then you have to move on from this Ben Simmons situation and retain whatever value you can for what it is that he is. And the best thing I've seen a million times said over, John Wall. It's the best thing that's out there. Now, again, is there a more valuable piece that you can acquire or a piece that you can flip that will get you more than what John Wall will return you when you try to trade him? Yes, I think that CJ McCollum is a more valuable piece than John Wall. But if you're trying to win right now, I don't think CJ McCollum helps this roster more than John Wall does in terms of the skill set and what he brings to the table. So I understand why some would say, okay, maybe we should try to aim for D'Angelo Russell. Maybe we should try to aim for C.J. McCollum. Maybe we should try to get Tyrese Halliburton, because those are essentially more valuable and healthier pieces. But my thing is, none of those other teams are inclined to give those pieces to the Philadelphia 76ers. So what that means is the Philadelphia 76ers would have to find value to attach to Ben Simmons in order to make them give up something they actually want. Because it's understood that they don't want Ben Simmons and Ben Simmons doesn't want them. So it's no reason for us, if I'm the other GM, to be giving up assets or giving up anything that I would actually want. Even if I'd be willing to part with those things to make the price match. We are weighing my desire to keep my piece versus your desire to let go of yours. So you're going to have to give me something to make that make sense. And that's what I've been trying to express to everybody every day. I've been saying this on my channel so that it's fully and utterly understood how this works. Now, going forward, as more news starts to be reported about who's interested in Ben Simmons, I'm starting to hear the Timberwolves are like really, really desperate to bring him in. They see him as a part of their future. He's already practically there. Like, in their minds, they're ready to move and make that move happen. I hear D'Angelo Russell was not involved last I listened for. He wasn't involved, but they're willing to make Malik Beasley available, and the numbers match for Malik Beasley. I would not take Malik Beasley. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. I think I can get John Wall. I'm going to leave Malik Beasley in Minnesota. So what ends up happening, since John Wall's on the trade block anyways, he'll probably be involved in the trade. And then I'm sure they'll swing it so that Ben will land it in Minnesota. Or if Minnesota isn't the destination, they can do that. They can swing him for John Wall and then send him wherever else he's going to go, so long as that other team can somehow make the numbers match so that Houston and Philly can get what they're supposed to get. So, you start thinking about the multitudes of possibilities once you consider a third team being the landing spot for Ben Simmons and John Wall being the piece to trade him for. So that's kind of a new thing. I kind of realized that was more so on the horizon than just him going to Houston, even though I think it's a good fit for Houston. Houston would probably be better overall if they don't bring back any crazy salary in letting go of John Wall. You want to bring back space. Ben is great and he helps, but not at that price. Not even for Houston. I would much rather have the space. And being that they've been hoarding picks and stuff like that, I'm sure they value space. So I don't necessarily believe that Ben is going to just land in Houston anymore. That's the tune that I've changed. I think he probably lands in Golden State or Minnesota. Portland is I don't. The only way Portland works, you guys, is if they swap him for C.J. McCollum. It's the only way it works. And the more I think about it, to be really honest with all of you, the more it kind of makes sense to me for Portland. I didn't love it for Portland, knowing their situation, knowing how strapped for cash they are, knowing how much they need Ben Simmons to have certain pieces around him in order for it to work. But I do like Ben Simmons and Dame Lillard more than I like Ben Simmons and C.J. McCollum. Dame Lillard and C.J. McCollum, to be honest with you. I do. Because C.J. don't do nothing for me defensively. He doesn't move the needle at all, actually. He's just a really, really good complementary scoring star who is going to help a team that's already good be that much better. But he's not a number 2 guy by any stretch of the imagination. He's not. Ben definitely is. So if I'm cap strapped and I can't get better, and I got a $100 million contract of a player that I really like but can't make me good enough, but potentially Ben Simmons could change my whole defensive outlook while still not taking any shots away from Dame. It makes more and more sense now that I think about it for him to be the other contract next to Dame rather than CJ. So I'm coming around on that, believe it or not. After all that we've talked about, I'm coming around on it. But understanding fully that Portland would simply be swapping him for CJ, and in doing so would be no closer to being flexible enough to bring them what they need. No closer. So for Portland, I'm warming up. I'm warming up to it. I'm doing a lot of thinking about it, and I'm just simply saying, it comes down to who do I want, CJ or Dame? And the problem is, and this is not that big of a problem for Portland, but the problem is, Philly wants Dame. They ain't getting Dame. And I think they'll understand that quickly. Now, will they want to do a deal for CJ when they realize they can't get Dame? The answer is obviously no, or the deal would probably already be done. They're holding out for Dame, and it's not happening. So, if I'm Portland, I keep CJ on the table, and I see what they say. But, again, what did I say about 7 minutes ago? You're weighing what I want to do, which is keep my player, versus what you need to do, which is get rid of yours. So guess what? If you're taking CJ from me, you know what you're gonna have to throw in. You already know what you're gonna have to throw in. As to which, if I'm Philly, I then say, nah, I'll do the deal with Houston and take John Wall. You see how that works? That's why it always brings me back to John Wall, man. It always brings me back to John Wall, because at the end of the day, if I'm Philadelphia, I ain't giving up no assets. I'm not. Now, Daryl Morey, if he wants to get someone other than John Wall, in my opinion, he will have to give up assets. Philly fans ain't gonna like that. Philly ownership ain't gonna like that. Daryl Morey ain't gonna like that. And I think it could be the reason why this deal doesn't get done anytime soon, why this drags out for many, many moons. Because at the end of the day, he ain't gonna like none of them offers. Them offers are gonna sound crazy to him. Because if he's doing a deal with someone like myself, you want me to take Ben Simmons? Got it. 3 first-round picks, sir. 2 swaps. And he's going to hang up the phone on me. And I'm going to be dead-ass serious. Because I know the worth of the player that Ben Simmons is right now. Doesn't have any. Doesn't have any. No worth at this point. What he is an absorbent, a super huge, large contract that only a few teams in the NBA can actually fit in their cap. That's what he is. So, yeah, man. This is going to be fun to watch and pay attention to. Of course, I'm sure I'll make this same video 7 or 8 times more, because that's how this is going. But I do appreciate everybody staying with me on this one. A lot of people have said a lot of things. I think I've said it all in terms of my opinion about what Ben's doing, about what Philly's doing. I just think everybody in this situation needs to grow up. Ben needs to go kind of sit down on a couch and get his head right, man. I don't need to know him to know that. This is a situation where you got to go heal from whatever's going on right now, whatever just took place already. But what's going on right now is damaging enough. Forget the playoffs, forget free agency and all the stuff that happened. We're talking about right now, and all of this stuff that with his name going through the mud and people laughing and making him the center of attention in regards to scolding him for not doing this, that, and the third. He needs to go get some healing going on, man. It ain't just about shooting basketballs right now. It's about making sure that you address whatever. So, yeah, man, that's what I think. That's honestly what I think, man. Yep, BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.